James Holder for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym. We're at the press conference today for Anthony Joshua v Charles Martin. Firstly and foremost, I'm joined by Matt Christie, the chief editor of Boxing News. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. And yourself?
Very well, still alive, one day at a time.
Got to take it. That's all you can do.
What did you take away from the press conference and head-to-head that we witnessed today?
My opinion hasn't changed. I think it's probably quite a straightforward fight for Anthony Joshua. I think it's a no-brainer in terms of Matchroom and Joshua's team in making the fight. But what I took away from the press conference today is the atmosphere in here. It almost reminded me a bit like a Rocky Balboa press conference or anything. There's so many people cramming around, cameras, there's flashing bulbs going off. Everyone, be they boxing fans or just sporting fans, casual fans, everyone is interested in Anthony Joshua, and you can taste it here.
I think Charles Martin quite realises the enormity of the task that faces him coming into O2 Arena with a completely pro Anthony Joshua crowd, big sort of Sky card. Do you think he's sort of aware of the implications of this fight?
There is a bit rabbit in headlights kind of thing about him, but yeah, some people have said he's taking this as a first defence to earn as much money as possible. Doesn't really care if he wins or loses. I think there's genuine ambition there. I think there's a genuine want to win that fight. But I also think let's not forget 6 months ago we hadn't heard of Charles Martin. And he's kind of almost been elevated into this status as kind of IBF champion. And he's probably finding it all a bit of a whirlwind himself. But I think on the night he'll give it everything he's got, but I'd be astonished if he won it.
It'd be strange if he didn't come with ambition, and obviously recently capturing the IBF title, as you mentioned. So for your first defence, do you think financially this was a mega deal for him in terms of coming here and defending?
I would say it was the most lucrative deal for him out there. If he'd have had a first defence in America against, I don't know, somebody like Carlos Takam, for example, it wouldn't really have figured on the radar at all. The fact he's got Anthony Joshua in the opposite corner absolutely boosts his earning potential like you would not believe. And if he wins, his own reputation absolutely soars. We're all talking about Anthony Joshua becoming a star overnight, like a worldwide star overnight if he wins this. It's exactly the same deal for Charles Martin.
We mentioned if he wins. Do you think the bookies are right in making Anthony Joshua such a sort of enormous favourite for this? And do you think it's disrespectful on Charles Martin that he is 5-1 to retain his IBF world title?
I don't think it's disrespectful. I think the bookies, okay, now and again they get it wrong, but there's a reason for that. Charles Martin is a capable heavyweight. He's a decent enough heavyweight. Arguably, you could say he's a fringe top 10 guy, but there's nothing elusive about him. He's not like an awkward southpaw that can, really put the cat amongst the pigeons. And I just haven't seen anything. And okay, what I've seen of Charles Martin is limited, but I haven't seen anything there that would make me fearful for Anthony Joshua. However, in these kind of fights, just because he hasn't shown it before, he may not have had to show it before. In these kind of all of a sudden he could be against Anthony Joshua, and we see an absolutely fantastic fighter. I'd be surprised.
He hasn't obviously been in deep water, and the opposition, the calibre of opposition he's fought, obviously doesn't match up to that on Joshua's on paper. But he hasn't been tested. We don't know how good Martin is or how good he isn't, so to speak.
No, and that's exactly it. And we may or may not find out on April 9th. Joshua may walk out and knock him out in one round, and we'll be none the wiser. But going back to the start again, in terms of the matchup itself, it's one that I think they had to take. Eddie Hearn will tell you that, he's umming and ahhing about it and he's a bit nervous about it. I'd be surprised deep down if that's really the case.
Do you think this represents a no turning back point for Anthony Joshua in terms of opposition and level of fighters that we can see him in with if he comes through this as we expect him to do?
I think you could say that if he was going in with Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. I think if you look at the IBF ratings, people like Carlos Takam, Bryant Jennings, even Derek Chisora, there's some guys in there that he would have been fighting anyway, with or without the belt. They would have been logical steps. Also, okay, the IBF, they're quite stringent with their mandatories, but the way that the ratings are stacked at the moment, there isn't a number one contender, there isn't a number two contender. There's an elimination bout that's got to happen. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with Ekan Tapir. So he could get a few voluntaries under his belt. He could live quite a comfortable life as IBF champion for a year before he's having to really step up. So win-win for me.
On that note, thank you very much for your time. I know you've got some real work to do, and we appreciate you giving us a bit of your time, mate.
No, thanks for having me. Take care.